The city was busy that night, its bright lights making shadows of Tom and Sophie as they walked to La Belle. The restaurant looked like a rich person's castle, its windows releasing smells of spices and fancy food. Tom held Sophie's hand tight, his heart filled with worry. For months, he'd saved every penny, skipping meals, managing his old shoes, sewing Sophie's overused clothes, to give his 7-year-old a birthday that might make their tough life feel better for one night. His jacket was old, patched, and smelled like diner oil. As they walked, he looked down at Sophie's blue dress, too small for her and old. She danced as she walked, her old sneakers hitting the sidewalk, her big eyes not seeing her dad's fear. Their life was really hard, like a never-ending fight. Since Anna, Tom's wife, died from cancer when Sophie was 2, he'd been both mom and dad, his heart full of love for her memory. He used to be a chef at Le Jardin, making awesome lamb and creamy pasta that packed the place with hungry people. But when Anna got sick, he quit, giving up his dreams to read Sophie bedtime stories and calm her bad dreams. Now he worked 2 jobs, making burgers in a hot diner, oil burning his arms and sticking to his hair, and cleaning office floors at night, his knees sore, his hands red and hurting from cleaning stuff. Their tiny apartment was a mess, wet walls, a dull light, a heater that made noise but no heat. Rent took most of his money, leaving little for food or Sophie's school stuff. He'd skip meals, his stomach empty, so Sophie could have oatmeal or canned soup in old bowls. Her sneakers, falling apart, were held together by a tape. Her backpack, an old one from a coworker, was torn. Sophie loved drawing, but she only had broken crayons and used paper from the diner. When she got an ear infection, her cries keeping him up, Tom spent his small savings, money for La Belle, on medicine, lying awake, scared they'd lose their home. Every bill felt like a rope around his neck. Inside La Belle, shiny lights and fancy tables with soft cloths glowed under candles, showing off money and power. The hostess, a woman with a mean look, her face sharp under tight hair, blocked their way at a fancy door stand. Her eyes looked over Tom's old jacket and dirty shoes, then at Sophie, her old dress like a sad flower, her sneakers taped up. "Got a reservation?" she snapped, her voice mean. "Tom Wilson." "For 2, Tom said, his voice quiet, tired. She didn't check her book. "We're full," she lied, because he could clearly see empty tables inside. "This isn't a place for free food. You look like you came from a trash can." Her whisper hurt more. "Get out or guard will throw you out like garbage." 2 big guards in black suits stood behind her, laughing like mean dogs. People at nearby tables, in fancy clothes, laughed and mocked them. Sophie's hand shook in Tom's, her eyes filling with tears, her lips shaking in fear. Tom felt everything at once, anger, shame, sadness. As he turned to leave, pulling Sophie toward the big glass doors, their reflections showing their hurt. Then, a voice, clear and strong, cut through the noise. "They're with me." The room went quiet, glasses and talking stopping. Everyone looked at a woman sitting alone at a corner table. She was very pretty, diamond earrings shining like tiny moons, a neat blue jacket fitting her perfectly, her reddish-brown hair tied loosely, glowing in the candlelight. Her eyes were strong but calm, daring anyone to argue. The hostess's mean smile fell, her face pale as she led Tom and Sophie to the table, her high heels clicking, the guards following, their smiles gone. Tom's heart was beating fast. Who was she? Why help them? He felt unsure, like it might be a trick. As they sat, Sophie sat on the soft chair, her fingers holding her dress. Tom stayed stiff, ready for trouble. The pretty woman's smile was warm, but her green eyes were hard to read. "My name is Clara. Please feel free and eat," she said gently, her voice smooth and sweet. Sophie ate a crunchy bread roll, her eyes big at the fancy room. Tom stayed careful, his hands tight under the fancy tablecloth. Awesome food came. Shiny scallops with herb butter, soft pasta with mushrooms, their smells making his mouth water. But Tom's mind wasn't settled, his hunger buried under worry. Clara asked soft questions, and his story came out. Anna's death, leaving his chef job at Le Jardin, 2 jobs that made him tired and sore, the hunger he hid to feed Sophie, the shame of her old shoes when she dreamed of art classes. Clara listened, her fingers touching her wine glass, her face showing real care, her eyes a bit wet. "I know that hurt," she said, her voice low, shaky with old memories. "My mom and I were kicked out of places like this. Our best dresses, sewn and clean, still trashed to them. The way they looked at us, like we were nothing. I saw it tonight, and I had to speak." Her words hit Tom hard, like his own pain. Her kindness, giving them her table, stopping the mean looks, warmed his cold heart, a heart he thought was dead since Anna passed. But he didn't trust it. People like Clara, so fancy and powerful, didn't stay in lives like his, full of oil stains and late bills. She said she was a food critic and someone who puts money into businesses, her eyes bright as she leaned closer, her voice soft like a secret. "At Le Jardin I ate a lamb dish, herbs on top, cooked very well, with a sauce that stayed in my mouth. I went there a lot, wanting to meet the chef, maybe help him grow. But he was gone, like he never was." Her eyes looked at his face, unsure. "You don't look like that chef now. Back then, he was happy, full of life, his eyes shining with big plans. But the way you talk about food, the love in your voice, it's him." Tom's throat tightened. It was his dish, his pride at Le Jardin. He'd left fast when Anna got sick, disappearing without a word. His dreams lost to hospital bills and sadness. Had she been watching him back then, a stranger who loved his food? He wasn't sure, worried it was a game. Then she dropped a big offer. "You're talented, Tom. I'll give you $200,000 to open your own restaurant." Sophie Crayon stopping, her eyes huge. Tom's hand shook the business card she gave him, a fancy card, feeling heavy in his fingers. "Think about it," Clara said, her smile kind but hard to understand. For days he held the card, its edges bending, scared it was a trick. Sophie's drawings of Daddy's restaurant on diner paper pushed him to call. They met at a small coffee shop, the smell of coffee calming him as Clara's steady voice eased his worries. "No trick," she said, her eyes strong. "I believe in you, Tom." Her words broke through the walls he'd built since Anna died, walls of sadness and doubt. Sophie's place opened big, a busy night of clinking glasses and talking. The restaurant was warm, brick walls covered with Sophie's colorful drawings, wooden tables full of people eating Tom's food, thick beef stew with carrots, golden cornbread with honey butter, apple pie with a crust that melted in your mouth. The air was full of laughter and forks, Sophie's giggles loud as people loved her art, her small chest puffed up. Clara's money bought shiny ovens, a busy kitchen, and a happy staff. But Tom's heart in every dish brought people lining up outside. Sophie's place opened big, a busy night of clinking glasses and talking. The restaurant was warm, brick walls covered with Sophie's colorful drawings, wooden tables full of people eating Tom's food, thick beef stew with carrots, golden cornbread with honey butter, apple pie with a crust that melted in your mouth. The air was full of laughter and forks, Sophie's giggles loud as people loved her art, her small chest puffed up. Clara's money bought shiny ovens, a busy kitchen, and a happy staff. But Tom's heart in every dish brought people lining up outside. But a big problem came. Victor, a guy Tom worked with at Le Jardin, now a chef with his own fancy restaurants, said Tom stole his recipes before leaving Le Jardin years ago. The lie spread fast, with food blogs and posts online calling Tom a fake and a thief. A big food writer wrote a mean article, saying Sophie's place wasn't real, and people started canceling their reservations, looking at Tom like he was bad. A health inspector, who seemed to know Victor, came to the restaurant, pointing out tiny problems, like dusty vents or a cracked floor, that could shut it down. Tom's stomach hurt, his nights sleepless, his hands shaking as he cooked. Sophie's place was everything, his way to give Sophie art classes a college fund. Losing it would throw them back to being broke. Clara was super protective, like a shield. She got mad when she saw the mean articles, calling the writers to set them straight, her voice sharp but calm. She sat with Tom at night, promising to fight with him, her hand on his arm, making him feel stronger. She hired a tough lawyer to prove Tom was honest, her eyes fierce when she talked about saving his dream. Tom remembered how Victor made his life hard back at Le Jardin, too. Victor was a chef who thought he was better than everyone. He'd mess with Tom's stuff, like hiding his spices, so Tom had to rush during busy nights, looking dumb to the boss. One time, Victor accidentally knocked over Tom's sauce, ruining hours of work before a huge dinner, laughing like it was funny. He'd steal Tom's ideas, like a cool herb mix Tom made, telling the head chef it was his. Victor would make fun of Tom in front of the kitchen crew, saying his dishes were plain or slow, making Tom feel small. When Anna got sick and Tom needed days off, Victor told the boss Tom was slacking, making it harder for Tom to keep his job. Victor's mean tricks made every day at Le Jardin stressful, like walking on eggshells. Even before Anna's sickness made Tom leave. This time Tom fought back against Victor's lies, digging out an old shoebox from under his bed, full of his Le Jardin stuff. Old L notebooks with his messy writing, stained with sauce, listing every recipe he made, from the lamb Clara loved to a peach pie he forgot. Each page showed he made them himself, late nights trying new flavors while Anna slept. Clara's lawyer showed the notebooks to food experts and restaurant people. The proof was clear: dates, ingredients, even drawings of how to set plates showed Tom's work was his. Someone who worked for Victor told the truth, saying Victor paid the inspector to mess with Tom. The lie fell apart. Victor's name got trashed, his restaurants empty, while Sophie's place became a favorite. People came back, loving Tom's story of fighting through and the real taste of his food, making the restaurant a city star. Clara's $200,000 started it all, but Tom's hard work and big ideas made him rich. Sophie's place grew to 2 more spots, each cozy with brick walls and Sophie's art, now in real frames like a museum. A food truck, painted with Sophie's dragon drawings, drove to city fairs, people lining up for Tom sliders and homemade ice cream. A cookbook, recipes from Sophie's place, sold a lot, its pages mixing Tom's food with stories of him and Sophie, touching people everywhere. A TV cooking show spot, Tom's quiet smile and heartfelt dishes winning the host, made him famous. His face on magazine covers. Selling his special sauces in fancy stores brought in lots of money. He spoke at food events and helped new chefs, adding to his cash. In 4 years, Tom went from counting pennies to having millions. When La Belle's owners broke from bad choices, sold the restaurant, Tom bought it. Signing the papers felt like winning back the night they were kicked out. He changed La Belle, keeping its shiny lights and marble floors, but adding warmth. Sophie's framed drawings next to the curtains. A menu mixing his cozy food with fancy stuff, cornbread-crusted scallops, slow-cooked ribs with fancy potatoes. The new La Belle was a win, a place that felt like home, full every night. Clara was always there, like a bright light. She'd bring Sophie sketchbooks, her eyes happy as Sophie talked about her latest drawing, a dragon with blue scales. With Tom, she'd stay late over coffee, talking about spices or his dreams of giving Sophie a sunny house with a backyard. Her kindness stuck with him, remembering Sophie's love for blue, giving her a knitted scarf for winter, asking about Tom's old Le Jardin dishes like she really cared. When Tom got to know her, he saw how warm she was. She'd laugh at Sophie's silly jokes, her giggle like music, making everyone smile. She'd hug Sophie tight when she was sad, her arms soft and safe. With Tom, she'd listen to his worries, her eyes kind, never judging, making him feel heard. She'd share stories of her tough childhood, her voice soft but strong, showing she'd fought hard to get where she was. Her warmth, her big heart, her gentle touch, her way of making him feel like he mattered, made Tom fall for her, his heart opening bit by bit. Tom was protective of Clara, too. When a rude reporter asked her mean questions about her past at a food event, Tom stepped in, his voice calm but firm, telling them to back off. When she got upset reading old messages from her ex, Tom sat with her, helping her delete them, his hand on hers, promising she was safe now. Their care for each other grew, like a team facing the world together. But Tom's heart felt something he tried to ignore. Anna was his everything, her laugh his guide. He'd promised never to love again, giving all his love to Sophie's giggles and crayon dreams. But Clara was amazing, pretty, successful, her fancy style so different from his usual life. Even after her money made Sophie's place, and they beat Victor's lies, Tom felt he wasn't good enough. Each time her hand touched his, passing a plate, fixing a menu, his heart raced, but he stayed quiet. Saying he loved her felt like asking for the stars. A broken guy once called a thief wanting her heart. For 2 years he struggled. his feelings growing with every moment. Quiet dinners at Sophie's place, her laugh warming him. Late nights fixing recipes, her sleeve touching his as they worked. Her checking on him after long days, her voice soft with worry. He'd watch her play with Sophie, braiding her hair or loving her art, his heart hurting with wanting her. He was scared she'd say no, see him as a sad case, not someone to love. Lying awake, he'd think of her smile, her touch, scared she'd turn away. Finally, after a quiet night at Sophie's place, the restaurant empty except for the fridge's hum, he couldn't hold back. "I love you, Clara," he said over coffee, his voice shaky, hands shaking on his old mug. "But I swore I'd never love again after Anna. You're too good for me, a nobody, asking too much." Clara's eyes got big, her face pale under the soft lights. "I need time," she whispered, her voice shaking, and left fast, leaving Tom's heart broken. Sure, he'd lost her. Clara was scared too. Her ex's lies had made her afraid of love, locking her heart to avoid hurt. Tom's love for Sophie, his strength through Victor's mess, made her feel safe, but his words scared her. For a year, she stayed away, her visits to Sophie's place short, her smiles tight. She'd bring Sophie art stuff, bright paints, new sketch pads, but not look at Tom, her heart torn between wanting him and fear. Tom, sad, gave her space, thinking he'd asked too much, his love too heavy. But they still connected. Quick looks when she gave Sophie a new brush, her fingers touching his. Short talks about a new dessert, her voice soft when their eyes met too long. Clara fought her fears, her heart wanting Tom, his rough hands, his tired smile, his love for his daughter. But her past kept her back, warning her of pain. A year later, they went back to La Belle, now Tom's, to celebrate Sophie's place's 3rd birthday. The hostess, the same mean woman, stood at the stand, her red lipstick bright against her pale face as she saw them. The guards, once laughing, looked at the floor, their faces red with shame. "We were so sorry," the hostess said, her voice tiny, her hands twisting a pen until it broke. "We didn't know who you were." Tom waved it off. Clara's eyes were hard. "You didn't need to know. Treat everyone right." The moment, heavy with fairness, brought them closer, Clara's hand finding Tom's under the table, her fingers holding his, her touch warm and strong. 6 months later, under a sky full of stars, Clara came to La Belle with a new sketchbook for Sophie. Its cover a dragon, Sophie's favorite. After Sophie fell asleep in the restaurant's cozy office, curled on a blanket with her crayons, Tom and Clara sat on La Belle's rooftop, the city's lights sparkling below. The air smelled of summer flowers and held their unsaid words, the soft sound of cars far away. Clara's voice shook, her hands twisting in her lap, her green eyes catching the stars. "I was scared, Tom," she said softly. "My past broke me, made me think love was a trap. But you're real, patient kind. I love you and I'm ready." Tom's heart jumped, his worries lifting, tears in his eyes. "I thought I'd lost you," he said, his voice thick. "I never thought I'd love again after Anna, but you're my home." Their kiss was soft, like a question, then strong, like an answer. The world fading into her warm breath, their tears mixing, a promise of a new start. Now they're a family, Tom, Sophie, Clara. Their home is a happy place, a big house with ivy on the walls, full of Sophie's bright art, so different from their old, cold apartment. Sophie has paints, thick sketch pads, art classes with a teacher who calls her a star, and a college fund growing fast. Sophie's place and La Belle are super busy, tables full of people eating Tom's yummy food, food trucks with Sophie's dragons driving around, cookbooks in store windows, loved by tons of people. Tom hires parents who are struggling, giving them jobs so they can be with their kids. Clara's love is his rock. Her laugh fills their nights as they cook together, her teasing about his spices ending in soft kisses, her lips warm on his. They picnic in sunny parks, Clara's head on his shoulder as Sophie draws butterflies, her crayons bright. They plan a wedding under twinkling lights in a vineyard, a bigger house with a garden for Sophie to paint in, maybe a new kid someday. That night at La Belle, when Clara's voice stopped their shame, wasn't just a rescue. It was the start of a love that grew slowly, strongly, through years of fear and wins. But as Tom locks his restaurants each night, the keys heavy in his hand, a worry stays. Will life, with its mean tricks, take away their happiness? But he was most grateful that he was comfortable and could now give his daughter the life she truly deserved.